Why is a black man standing outside messing with his phone? That was all it took. One sentence, one assumption, one call to 911. In a neighborhood where everything looked picture perfect, one woman's suspicion turned a quiet afternoon into a police investigation. But what the cops uncovered, it wasn't what anyone expected. This isn't just a story about Wi-Fi, it's about surveillance, betrayal, and how easily the real threat hides in plain sight. As Maya Angelou once said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. But what if the person you mistrusted was innocent, and the danger lived in your own home? This is the chilling reality of ANU, where fear speaks louder than facts, and assumptions carry consequences. If this story challenges what you think you know, don't keep that to yourself. Hit subscribe, leave a comment, and join us in telling stories that go deeper than just headlines. Noah Bryant was halfway through his lunch break when the internet lag hit again. The video call he'd scheduled with a client froze mid-sentence, and the buffering icon danced on the screen like a cruel joke. He sighed, pushed his salad aside, and muttered, "Not again." As a software engineer who worked remotely from his Denver home, Noah depended on his Wi-Fi like a lifeline. It wasn't just inconvenient, it was threatening his ability to work. Deciding to take matters into his own hands, he grabbed his phone and stepped outside to check the router. The signal was stronger by the garage, so he leaned against the siding and opened his network settings. That's when he noticed something odd, an unfamiliar device connected to his Wi-Fi. The name wasn't a jumble of letters like most default settings. It was labeled Summit View 01. Noah frowned. He lived alone. His phone, laptop, smart TV, and home security system were the only things that should be connected. He'd never shared his password with anyone. His eyebrows drew together in suspicion. Who the hell is Summit View 01? Frustrated, he kicked every unknown device off the network and changed the password. While typing, he didn't notice the eyes watching him from across the street. Chloe Spencer stood by her living room window, sipping her iced coffee. She was 28, stylish, with a strong online presence. Her Instagram was filled with makeup tutorials, yoga poses, and perfectly curated brunches. She'd only lived in the neighborhood a year, but had already become something of a fixture, known for her social savvy and sharp tongue. And while she barely knew Noah, she had always found him off, not unfriendly. Just too quiet, too private, never came to block events, always walking alone, earbuds in, focused on his phone. So when she saw him standing beside his garage, fidgeting with his phone and glaring at the screen like he was breaking into Fort Knox, her gut started to whisper, "That's suspicious." She watched him for another minute, still on the phone, still standing in the same spot, still tapping. Her mind ran wild. Maybe he was scoping out houses. Maybe he was jamming signals. Maybe he was hacking. Chloe didn't ask. She didn't walk across the street or wave. Instead, she grabbed her phone and dialed 911. "Hi, yes, I'd like to report something weird," she said. "My neighbor's acting suspicious. He's out in front of his house doing something with his phone, and honestly, it looks sketchy." The dispatcher asked for details, but Chloe didn't have any. Just instincts. Just vibes. And in a world full of digital crimes, those seemed like enough. Within minutes, a patrol car turned onto the quiet suburban street. Noah looked up from his phone, confused by the sound of sirens. His heart skipped as the cruiser slowed to a stop in front of his driveway. Two officers stepped out. "Sir," one of them called. He was tall, built like a linebacker, and wore his authority like a second skin. "We got a report about suspicious behavior. Mind telling us what you're read out here?" Noah blinked. "What? I'm changing my Wi-Fi password." The officer raised an eyebrow. "Out here? I get a better signal near the garage," Noah replied, trying to keep his voice calm. He'd been down this road before, where existing while black somehow became a threat. Before the officer could respond, Chloe stepped out of her house and crossed her arms. "I've seen him doing stuff like this before," she said loudly. "Always outside, always on that phone. It's like he's watching people." Noah turned toward her slowly. Excuse me. I'm just saying, Chloe shrugged. It's weird. You're always lurking around. Noah laughed under his breath, more stunned than amused. You mean using my own Wi-Fi in my own driveway? The officers exchanged glances. One of them, Officer Reyes, asked, would you mind showing us the devices on your network, just to clear things up? Noah didn't want to. He didn't owe anyone proof of innocence, but he also knew what happened to people who said no. He unlocked his phone and pulled up the list of connected devices. There, he said, holding it out. That's the one that doesn't belong. Summit View. Reyes leaned in. And you don't recognize it? No. And when I checked the logs, it's been accessing my system non-stop. I think someone's been using my network, maybe even spying. That's when everything shifted. The officer's posture changed. Chloe's confidence wavered, and in the silence that followed, the weight of assumption started to press down. This wasn't a hacker. This was a man protecting his own home, and someone had just called the cops on him for it. Officer Reyes and his partner, Officer Kim, followed Noah into the house. The air inside was cool, quiet, and smelled faintly of fresh coffee and lemon-scented cleaner. Everything about Noah's home screamed normal. Bookshelves lined with software manuals, a clean desk with dual monitors, a smart speaker in the corner softly humming lo-fi beats. Where's your router? Reyes asked, scanning the room. Over there. Noah pointed toward a sleek black device sitting on a shelf near the TV. He walked over to his laptop and mirrored his phone screen so they could see everything clearly. The officers leaned in as the list of connected devices popped up. There, Noah said, tapping the screen. Summit View 01. Still connected. Officer Kim narrowed her eyes. Can you show us the activity logs? Noah nodded. He clicked through several tabs. His fingers moved fast, the way only someone comfortable with systems like these could. A new window opened, filled with timestamps, IP addresses, and access logs. Then it happened. Noah's brow furrowed. His lips parted slightly, as if he'd forgotten how to breathe. What is it? Reyes asked. Noah's voice was quiet, stunned. It's accessing video feeds. Reyes leaned closer. You have security cameras. Yeah, front door, back alley, and a few inside. But I haven't been using the internal ones much lately. He clicked again. A feed opened on the screen. It was his living room. Live, real time, but the chilling part was that the feed hadn't been accessed by him. It's been watched for hours, Noah whispered. Officer Kim's posture stiffened. Someone's spying on you. Noah clicked through another log. The data wasn't just from today, it went back days, even weeks. Whoever it was had been watching silently, lurking in the background of his digital life. Can you trace where it's being accessed from? Reyes asked. Noah nodded, already working. He pulled up IP logs, checked against MAC addresses, ran them through a tracing tool. His jaw tightened. The data's not going far. It's bouncing around local networks, neighbors' routers, smart devices, but the endpoint is right here, on this street. You mean someone nearby? Kim asked. Like within a few houses, Noah confirmed. A wave of silence hit the room, the kind that presses in from all sides. Noah clicked one more log entry and opened a new video feed. Chloe's house. It was unmistakable. Her kitchen, dimly lit. Her hallway. Her bedroom. What the? Chloe gasped from the doorway, her voice breaking. She'd followed them in at some point, but now she looked like she couldn't breathe. That's my place. Noah turned slowly. Looks like you're not the only one being watched. Chloe stumbled back, one manicured hand flying to her mouth. But how? How is that even possible? Noah's voice was hard now. Whoever's doing this is using a fake Wi-Fi network. A decoy that looks like a normal router. People's devices connect automatically. And just like that, they're compromised. A man in the middle attack, Officer Kim muttered. Damn. Exactly, Noah said. And whoever set this up knows what they're doing. Chloe's face went pale. My brother, Evan, he's been staying with me the past few months. He's a cybersecurity major, always on his laptop. Keeps to himself. I don't know. Reyes stepped forward. What's his full name? Evan Spencer, she said, barely audible. Where is he now? He's home, she said. Upstairs. He rarely leaves the house. Reyes nodded and spoke into his radio. We need backup at this location. Possible felony cybercrime suspect. Prepare for search. Kim looked at Noah. You've done more in 20 minutes than most cyber units do in 2 weeks. Noah gave a half smile that didn't reach his eyes. I didn't want to. I just wanted to change my damn password. Outside, the street remained calm. Kids rode bikes. Sprinklers clicked rhythmically. No one knew what storm was brewing behind the windows of Chloe's home. Chloe looked at Noah, her voice trembling. I am so sorry. I called the cops on you. You thought wrong, Noah said simply. But now we know the truth, and you need to decide what you'll do with it. Reyes turned to Chloe. Can you take us to Evan? She nodded. And just like that, the case of a suspicious black man on a phone had cracked open something far darker, a digital web of invasion and betrayal that was about to hit a breaking point. Chloe led the officers up the stairs of her home, her legs shaky beneath her. Every step felt heavier than the last. Her heart pounded in her chest, as if trying to escape. She couldn't look Noah in the eye, not after what she'd accused him of. And now the thought that Evan, her own younger brother, might be behind something this serious. It was more than she could process. The upstairs hallway was quiet, eerily so. A closed door sat at the end, faint light bleeding through the crack underneath. Evan, Chloe called, her voice tight and unsure. Can you come out for a second? No response. Officer Reyes stepped ahead and knocked firm and deliberate. Evan Spencer, this is the police. We need to speak with you. Open the door, please. A few seconds of silence, then the sound of something shifting, a chair moving, footsteps. The doorknob turned. Evan opened the door just wide enough for his face to show. He was 21, pale, unshaven, with dark circles under his eyes and earbuds slung around his neck. His expression was a mix of confusion and defensiveness. What's going on? He asked, glancing between Chloe and the officers. We need to ask you a few questions, Officer Kim said, calm but firm. Mind if we come in? Evan hesitated, then opened the door wider. The room looked like a typical college student's workspace. Laptop on the desk, energy drink cans, tech magazines, LED lights along the walls. But the second Reyes stepped inside and glanced at the laptop screen. His tone changed. Pause whatever you're doing. Step away from the desk. Evan raised his hands and stepped back. What is this about? Officer Kim took position by the desk, quickly scanning the screen. Her jaw tightened. Open terminal logs. Now. Evan didn't move. Reyes stepped forward. We can get a warrant and seize your system, or you can cooperate right now. Reluctantly, Evan tapped a few keys. The logs opened. What followed was undeniable. IP addresses matching Noah's home, Chloe's security cameras, access timestamps from weeks ago. Chloe's stomach turned. She felt like the floor had dropped beneath her. Why, Evan? She whispered. What the hell were you doing? It was just supposed to be a test, Evan muttered, like a challenge. I wanted to see if I could set up a fake access point. I didn't think people would actually connect it. Reyes cut him off. And when they did, Evan shrugged, his voice getting quieter. It escalated. I found ways to access smart cameras. It was interesting. Interesting? Chloe snapped. You were watching people in their homes. Evan looked at the ground. I didn't record anything. I didn't share it. I just watched. I swear. Kim shook her head. That doesn't make it any less illegal. Unauthorized access to private networks. Surveillance without consent. This is felony-level stuff. Evan's face went pale. Officer Reyes pulled out a pair of cuffs. Evan Spencer, you are under arrest for unlawful access to computer networks and criminal surveillance. You have the right to remain silent. As he recited the Miranda rights, Chloe turned away, unable to watch. Her eyes burned with tears. The guilt was unbearable. She had jumped to conclusions, labeled Noah as a threat, and ignored the real danger under her own roof. Downstairs, Noah stood by the entryway, arms crossed, silent. He didn't flinch when Evan was led past him in cuffs. Their eyes met for a second, and in that moment, Evan looked truly ashamed. Noah didn't speak. He just nodded slightly and turned his gaze away. Outside, the sun was starting to dip low, casting long shadows across the perfectly trimmed lawns and parked SUVs. A neighborhood that looked flawless on the surface was now cracked wide open. Chloe walked out slowly, the air feeling heavier than before. She stepped beside Noah, but couldn't bring herself to say anything at first. He broke the silence. "You saw the truth. That's what matters." "I was wrong about you," she said, voice shaking, "and I'm so sorry." Noah didn't answer right away. He looked up at the sky, the kind of look someone gives when they're trying not to explode from what they feel inside. "You weren't just wrong," he said finally. "You were dangerous." That hit her harder than any insult could have. She nodded, unable to argue. "I want to fix it," she said softly. "Then start by listening," Noah replied. "Next time you get that gut feeling, ask yourself who taught you to feel that way." Reyes and Kim loaded Evan into the back of the patrol car. The doors shut with a dull final click. The case wasn't just closed. It was cracked wide open. And it left everyone with more questions than answers. Noah stood on the sidewalk as the patrol car pulled away, the flashing red and blue lights fading into the dusk. The neighborhood, still quiet, buzzed now with something unspoken, something heavy. Chloe stood beside him, arms wrapped around herself, as if trying to hold in the shame. For a few minutes, neither of them said a word. The weight of everything that had happened pressed down like a thundercloud. Noah should have felt vindicated. Instead, all he felt was tired. "You okay?" Chloe finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Noah looked over at her, eyes unreadable. "Am I okay?" he echoed. "You called the cops on me for standing in my own driveway." "I know," she said quickly. "I was wrong. I know I was wrong." Noah didn't respond. He walked back toward his house, motioned for her to follow. Chloe hesitated, then stepped in behind him. Inside, Noah sat at the dining table, the glow of his laptop screen still casting faint light on his face. The list of accessed camera feeds remained open, a quiet, horrifying reminder of what had been going on for weeks, right under everyone's nose. "I still can't believe it was Evan," Chloe said, her voice fragile. "He's always been a little weird, but I never thought—" "That's the problem," Noah said, not looking at her. "You didn't think. You didn't ask. You assumed." The words stung, but Chloe didn't argue. He was right. "I've spent years building a life where I'm just left alone," Noah continued, "not bothering anyone, not being a problem. And still, one look, and suddenly I'm suspicious." Chloe sat across from him. "I didn't mean to." "It doesn't matter what you meant," he interrupted. "It matters what you did." Silence settled again, thick and uncomfortable. Chloe's eyes welled with tears, but she blinked them away. "I thought I was the good one," she said quietly. "I post about causes. I donate to charities. I use the right hashtags. But when it came down to it, I saw you and assumed the worst. I became everything I claimed I wasn't." Noah finally looked at her. Good intentions don't excuse bad instincts. Outside, the first stars began to peek through the deepening twilight. Street lamps flickered on. A dog barked somewhere down the block. Chloe stood, pacing. What Evan did, it was awful. He violated people's lives, including mine. I should have seen it, but I didn't. And instead of looking at my own house, I pointed at yours. Noah closed his laptop. The screen went dark. "Truth is," he said, "this wasn't just about Wi-Fi. It was about the way we see each other. Or don't." She nodded slowly. "So what do I do now?" Noah considered her for a long moment. "Own it. Learn from it. And when you hear someone else making assumptions like you did, don't stay quiet." She wiped a tear from her cheek. "I can do that." He stood, walked to the door, and opened it for her. "You should get some rest," he said. "Long day." She paused on the threshold. "You ever think we'll get to a point where this doesn't happen anymore?" Noah looked out at the street. "Not unless people like you start changing what happens inside their own homes before pointing fingers at someone else's." That landed hard. Chloe stepped outside. The night air was cool against her skin, sobering. As she walked back toward her house, now dark and quiet without Evan in it, she realized something had cracked open inside her. The guilt hadn't faded, but beneath it, something new had started to grow. Awareness, responsibility, resolve. Noah watched her go, then closed the door behind him with a soft click. In the distance, the city buzzed on, oblivious. But on that quiet block in Denver, something had shifted. A line had been crossed, and a lesson had been learned, though not without cost. Tomorrow would come. But tonight, the truth had finally been seen. The next morning, sunlight spilled across the neighborhood like nothing had happened. Sprinklers ticked rhythmically across green lawns, and the soft hum of garage doors opening echoed from a few homes. Everything looked normal, peaceful, but behind that calm exterior, the block was still reeling. Noah sat at his kitchen table, nursing a black coffee. His laptop was shut. His router was disconnected. His security system was completely offline. He wasn't taking any chances. Not yet. He hadn't slept much. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that name again, Summit View 01. The invasion hadn't just been digital. It was personal. Someone had been watching him live his life, recording moments he didn't even remember. And still, the thing that lingered most wasn't the violation. It was Chloe's voice calling 911. Noah had grown used to moving quietly, keeping his head down, avoiding conflict. But something about yesterday shifted something inside him. He was done playing it safe. He looked out the window and saw Chloe sitting on her porch steps. She wasn't dressed like the usual version of herself. No makeup, no phone in hand, no curated presence. Just jeans, a hoodie, and a 1,000-yard stare. She looked like someone who'd been forced to meet a version of herself she didn't like. He grabbed his mug, walked outside, and crossed the street. Chloe looked up, startled. "Hey," she said softly. Noah nodded. "Mind if I sit?" She shook her head, and he took a seat beside her on the concrete step. For a few moments, neither of them spoke. "I've been thinking," she said finally, "about how fast everything spiraled. 1 second, I'm sipping coffee. The next, my brother's in cuffs, and you're being accused of something you didn't do, because of me." Noah sipped his coffee. "And what have you come up with?" She exhaled. "I've spent so much time trying to look like the kind of person who gets it. But I didn't get it. Not really. I posted black squares. I achieved justice. But when it was my turn to actually stand in it, I failed." Noah didn't say anything. He just let her sit in that discomfort. "I made you feel unsafe in your own neighborhood," she continued, her voice cracking. "I took something away from you. I can't give back." "I don't need an apology," he said. "I need accountability. For you. For Evan. For everyone who thinks gut feelings are facts." She nodded, tears forming in the corners of her eyes. "I want to do more than say sorry," she said. "I want to face what I did. I want to change it." "You can start by telling the truth," Noah said. "To the neighborhood, to yourself. Post about that. Talk about the harm. The real harm. Not the kind that gets likes, but the kind that changes hearts." Chloe looked over at him, a mix of gratitude and pain in her eyes. "You'd be okay with that?" "I'm not okay," Noah said. "But I'm not hiding anymore. I've got a story too. And I think people need to hear it." Later that week, Chloe did exactly that. She posted a raw, unfiltered video to her social media accounts. She explained everything. How she'd misjudged her neighbor, how her brother had violated dozens of homes, how easy it had been to point fingers while ignoring the truth in her own home. The video went viral, not because it was dramatic, but because it was honest. In the comments, people thanked her for owning her mistake. Some called her out, others offered support, but most importantly, It sparked real conversations about bias, about assumptions, about what justice looks like in everyday life. Noah saw it all. He didn't repost it. He didn't need to. What mattered most was that the neighborhood changed. People greeted him differently. They looked him in the eye. They listened. One afternoon, a new neighbor even walked over with a plate of cookies and said, "Heard what happened? Just wanted to say, we're glad you're here." It wasn't perfect, but it was something. As for Chloe, she began volunteering with a digital safety nonprofit. She used Evan's arrest as a teaching point. In local schools, she spoke openly about bias and how quickly it can hide behind words like instinct or concern. And Evan, facing legal consequences, entered a rehabilitation program focused on ethical tech. It wasn't a redemption story yet, but it was a start. Noah resumed his work, slowly reconnected his system, strengthened his network, not just digitally, but socially. He let himself be seen, because being invisible hadn't protected him. But being visible, that might just change everything. They say the scariest monsters don't live in the dark. They live in our assumptions. A New reminds us how easily judgment can replace understanding, and how dangerous it is when fear disguises itself as instinct. As Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, "Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity." Chloe didn't wear a badge or carry a weapon, but her call to 911 still had the power to shatter trust, dignity, and peace. This story isn't just about surveillance or tech. It's about seeing people clearly before we label them wrongly. So next time your gut feeling whispers something about someone, pause, ask, and check your own lens first. If this story moved you, made you think, or reminded you of something you've seen, don't scroll past. Drop a comment, share your thoughts, and subscribe. This isn't just a channel. It's our space to reflect, connect, and grow. Let's keep telling stories that matter.